4, 3, 2, 1.
Cut.
Good morning to you all. It's an honor to be here. Where do you come from? No, where do you really come from? This is a question people ask me many times. Apparently, because of my parents, I don't quite fit in a certain box. And the fact that I have the honor to open this Future Forward Summit is for me a sign that the organization thinks outside a box. I'm not a scientist, I'm a creative. I don't work necessarily with numbers, but with people. I studied the out-of-the-box study called Woordkunst, word art, at the Royal Conservatory in Antwerp, a combination of creative writing, media, and performance. And after I graduated 4 years ago, my first documentary was released on television, and since then I mainly focus on documentary projects. From an exhibition about Burundi's beauty salons to an investigative journalism project about land grabbing in Mozambique. And currently I'm working on a series about democratic innovators in Europe. And the 1st of December, write it down, my newest documentary will be released on television, in which I go to the place where I'm actually coming from, Suriname, back to the plantation where my ancestors were enslaved. Well, besides film, I write, and now and then I stand on a stage to tell a story. So even in my work, I don't quite fit in a regular box. The story I would like to share with you today is how I work as a storyteller, in what way I visualize wicked problems, and how I deal with them. I will do that by showing some documentary material of my first documentary, which I've shot a few years ago. And I hope to show you the power of storytelling and the benefits of working together. And I often start with curiosity in the world around me. And that curiosity brought me to South Africa.
Was the first black president from South Africa.
Ja,
Evie de Klerk het vir hom
Dankie.
uit die gevangenis uit daar by Robben Eiland gaan haal.
Nelson Mandela.
1984.
Dankie.
Not 1984.
So one nation.
1994. 1994. Nelson Mandela, Evie de Klerk, make South Africa freedom!
Maar hoe is die weer daar aan de kant, die weer daar aan de kant in Holland?
Dit is baie koud.
Is het baie koud daar? Ook, hoe is die mensen daar? Is
Um,
daar baie klering daar? Emma, baie klering, oors, naast is er baie mensen daar.
een bietjie.
En die Bantus?
Bantus.
Ja, die Bantus.
Swart mensen.
Ja, daar baie mensen daar ook aan die Bantus.
Ja?
Hoe is hulle alright?
Ja?
Onder elkaar? Oké.
Is jullie alright onder elkaar?
Nee, hier, ons is alright. Dat is no problem. No problem. Ik is alright. Emma, is zo makkelijk.
Nee, zij is zwart. Zwart mens. Bantu.
Nee, jouw ma.
Mijn ma is zwart.
Rechter. Jouw vader?
Wit.
Okay, I'll see.
And one of the principles of apartheid was that everyone was boxed into a racial group. You were classified white, black, colored or Indian. I was born in the Netherlands, but if I had lived in South Africa under apartheid, as a child of a forbidden mixed-race marriage, my brown skin would have made me a colored person. Neither black nor white, but something in between. And this fascinated the farm workers, who would often ask me, "What are you?"
Ga goed, Tanny.
Ja, het gaat goed. Nee, ja, nee, het gaat aan, Emma.
And on Monte Rosso, I stayed with friends who rented out a cottage. And I would often look across the dam to the farm workers' cottages on the other side. I was curious. I noticed the 5 families who live there hardly ever get out. Besides, it's a long walk to the village of Stellenbosch, so their world is very limited. They also don't have a lot of money to spend in town because the women earned 3 rand per filled grape case, and on a very good day they filled up to 30 cases, which was at that moment around €8. The men earned just a little bit more, and they're still charged for rent and electricity. I asked farm worker John if he was satisfied with his life.
Emma, as van mij, als het nog eens zo rijdt, man, hoekom? Partykeers krijg ik zo 298.
Good to hear. See you Monday.
Sure, and thanks.
Hey, it's my job.
Ja, man.
Dis my dogter se reputasie.
As was nog klaar.
Ek weet ek was verkeerd, oom, en ek probeer my
Ik zie dit eigenlijk. Mijn zwaar had al voor hem gevraagd, Bali, ja, boe, mijn zuster, man. Die heeft voor hem gevraagd, moet die verhogen. Van die 105, verhogen. Die vrij voor hem, 7. Wat baat het? Je kreeg nog mijn Shell altijd. Die kraak had opgegaan, die ijzer in het opgegaan. Ik is nog altijd net niet zo. Niks het belangrijk. Wat baat het geld opgegaan had, niks. Ik zie de Shell geld, wat ik voor gewerkt had, alle jaren. Zie.
And just like his parents, grandparents, and great grandparents, John grew up on a farm and has been a farm worker for decades, without owning own land. His family has experienced slavery until 1838, apartheid until 1994, and now the new South Africa, where for the first time he has the right to demonstrate. And 2012 witnessed the first farm workers' protest ever in South Africa. The wages were increased with 52%, but for the farm workers, that's still not a lot. On the other side, you have the life story of the farmer.
Farming, you don't make money. Not at all. You're bursting your balls. We work damn hard just to cover our costs. Seriously. It's not a laugh. The government doesn't help us. Why must they help? Because I'm a white person. They don't give a shit. I go under, they laugh. Monterosso, the Cinque Terre, and that's our house over there. I want to move on. I want a different lifestyle now. I want to go live in the suburbs where I can take my children to school, cycle with them. I want to go to gym for 2-3 hours a day. I want to laugh.
Now, there's a striking contrast here. South Africa was at that time the 8th largest wine producer in the world, and Europe now consumes more South African wine than ever before. But many farm owners, like Miti, have gone bankrupt because of unsustainable wage demands and the lack of government support. But there's another major problem on the farm.
Ah, dat is nou wat wijn.
Witwijn.
Ja, is wat wijn van druiven gemaakt, ja.
The wine itself.
Kom, ruik het niet, Emma. Ruik je.
Wauw, dit is bijsterk.
Ja, het is bijsterk, ja. Emma, als je 2 glaasjes vat, nee, dan praat je bij je. Dan talk too much. Als ons 5 mensen is, of 4 mensen is, nee, Emma, dan dat ik zo kan. Hier uit.
Wat dan hier?
Als ik hier zo kan uit.
It's difficult to follow their story because even though it's only Monday afternoon, I noticed they're already quite drunk. They drink spare wine from another farm and they buy it for 10 rand a liter, less than €1.
Ja, zeker.
And the drinking affects John's daughter Jasmine.
Goed hoor.
She now lives with her little sister in a township far out with their uncle and aunt. John doesn't have enough money to send them to the school nearby. Besides, it's dangerous for the children to walk back home through the vineyards. Together with Jasmine's mom, I go and pick them up for the weekend.
That's why weekends I want to be away from here, away from the drunk people. I don't want to be in the weekends, I don't want to be alone. Maybe tomorrow my mother's drinking. It's like you, it's a thing that I hate it. I just want to kill myself or such a thing. My mother, is like I want to cry sometimes. The days that I still have been loving her, it's like I've been I just want to cry. It drives me up the halls, and I just want to be away. It's like someone can just come here and say, and that person will say, come, we're going to the beach or somewhere that I can just be away by the things that is happening here. What is it that you just want to drink?
During apartheid, most farm workers on the farms were partly paid in wine. At this farm, the men, John for example, received 1 liter and the women half a liter a day.
But who gives a shit about that? You want to go into Africa, go see what they do in Africa. What you worried about South Africa, about paying wine in the apartheid area? I mean, that's pathetic. Oh, but you must understand, if we live in a very complex country. I mean, the colors get drunk, the blacks get drunk. I mean, what are you going to do about it? How do you solve this problem? You're not going to solve it. It's just going to escalate. It's going to get worse. And it is getting worse. Because with government grants now, I've got a worker that hasn't come to work since Friday. Because his wife has got a disability grant. He's lying drunk on his bed. What must I do about that?
What do you do about that?
What can I do about it? Nothing. I'm tired of it. That's why we're selling. We finished. We've had enough. You can't work like this. You can't have drunk people walking around your farm like that. That's crap, man.
What's going to happen with the farmers?
They carry on working. And those that can't hold their liquor will obviously get fired. Simple as that. Dikkie, wat maak jy daar nou? Hier kan maar, nee, hy is nie besig daar. Wat maak jy daar? Can you see?
Why don't you fire him?
Because I've known them too long. And we got a good relationship. And I feel sorry for them. Yeah, Emma, listen, you can film and listen and whatever. South Africa is a very complex place. There's no solution. There is no solution.
For the origin of these wicked problems, we have to go back to slavery. The DAP system, paying farm workers in spare wine, has started when the Dutch kidnapped people from African and Asian continent to work for them on farms. To keep the enslaved people on the farms, they gave doppies, mugs or tins filled with inferior wine, to make sure they would stay, they wouldn't protest. The practice continued during apartheid and only officially ended in 1994 when apartheid was over. But did it really finish? How long does it take to decolonize the mind? To understand that you as a colored person are not inferior to white people? How long does it take to get alcoholism out of a system? And how can that circle be broken if you live in poverty? The number of children born with fetal alcohol syndrome is world highest in South Africa. And not only alcohol abuse, but also sexual abuse, mental abuse are very common on farms. The small farms like Miti can't compete with the large commercial wine farms. The question is that a bad thing? Big farms can take better care of their employees. There is no solution, Miti said. Or is there? The uncle of Jasmine found one. He found God after his son got stabbed to death on the farm and he quit drinking.
Ik heb geweldig bij je gedronken. 5 liters on a Friday night. 5 liters on a Saturday. 5 liters on a Sunday.
Dat is baie.
Dat is baie. Mensen het groot geraakt met alcohol. Hulle ouders het gedronken. Ook van een jong ouderdom af het hulle ook beginnen drinken. Sien, daarom wijn is een baie groot probleem. Zal ik zeggen op plaatsen. Nou niet alle plaatsen nie. Is ook niet allemaal wat wijn drinken, maar in de meeste van die gevallen is het een probleem. If you come to God and you are committed to what you do and committed what you telling God you want to be with God and you're committed to it, then God is changing you. Your whole lifestyle is changing because you got God on your side. You're not alone.
Mama, ik wil eten, je moet van mij een borrel wijn gaan halen.
Ja, ze zijn doen.
Ik wil met een glaasje wijn staan, man. Als je die foto van ziet, ja.
Wat is zo lekker aan die wijn?
Hij geeft jou net zo lekker op het kop. He give you a kick. The wine give you a kick. You be nice. You know? Papa! Als je bijna wil eten, kan je lekker dansen.
I want to become a businesswoman. I want to achieve that dream with nobody's help. Nobody's. I want to achieve it by myself. So one day I could say to my children, this is my achievement that I've been doing. This is my dream since I was a child. And I want you to dream and to make your dream come true.
Who's to blame? How far should a farmer's responsibility extend to the well-being of his workers? What are the responsibilities of the workers themselves or the South African government, who seems to be playing a very minor role in the wine industry? And what responsibilities lie with European wholesalers who import the wine and with European consumers who can buy South African wine for just a few euros in a local supermarket? Cheap wine costs a price. Now who's to blame? Them? We? History? But most importantly, even though we have inherited the current situation, what can we do to solve these problems? Most farmers don't allow pottekijkers, busybodies at their farm. I was able to make this portrait because I got so close to both farmer and farm workers. I spent weeks and weeks on the farm, and I could see the wicked problems I read about involving in real life. And I was only able to make this portrait by being aware of the bigger picture, of the statistics, of the numbers, by talking to experts, interviewing activists, reading books. The wine industry in South Africa is very complex. And there are so many ways of seeing it, so many truths. Therefore, I had to stick to the Monte Rosso story. This is an average wine farm, and what you've seen is definitely not an exception. Life at the Monte Rosso farm is part of the greater wine industry, but the portrait I made was daily life of real people. It became a personal portrait, focused on a family living on the farm and filmed by me, seen through my eyes. It wasn't only their story, it became mine as well, because I was the filmmaker and I did the edit. I also criticized myself by continuously asking myself the question, who was I there on the farm? What was my position and my responsibility? I was very much aware of the privilege that I could step in and step out whenever I wanted to. I wasn't a colored person from South Africa. I was a privileged Western European. But I felt I had to make this, although it was very tiring and it was my first film experience. But I felt I had to do it because I had access. This story needed to be told. I saw tourists visit wine farms, drink the wine, having the best time, but they don't have a clue what's behind some wineries, about the poverty they're drinking as well. After editing, I knew I had to go back to look for solutions. And I came across fair trade, but that's a very big story on its own. Together with a junior researcher of the Free University of Amsterdam, we opened up another box of wicked problems, because Fairtrade is a Western company with Western goals and is basically saying, this is wrong and this should be fixed, but how can you change a mindset overnight? Can you change the system by labeling it? It's expensive to get a Fairtrade label. So what if you're a small farm with care for your employees, but you can't afford to meet the Fairtrade standards? And if you can afford it, where does that money come from? The questions were endless. And there was one question that kept turning in my head after I interviewed a land reform activist. Why is wine, a luxury product, such a big export product, if people are on the edge, starving? Why doesn't South Africa feed their own people first? I went back to the farm to show them what I filmed, how I viewed their life. Wordt mij vaak de vraag gesteld, als een kind uit een gemengd huwelijk...
Ik liet hem bij je dak op je voet toe, man.
Hij stress niet.
Hij stress, ja. Ik ben 7 jaar maar. Nou, jongens,
weekends I want to be away from here, away from the traffic.
Dat is mooi, man, het hart
I
hier.
don't want to be in the weekends, I don't want to be here.
Zeer groot.
No, we gaan naar weer spelen.
Wat is verkeerd en wat is recht?
hoorde wat ze gedaan, wat wil ze raken. Raak me zo hartzeer. En ze wil ja, maar een paar moet zo dranken.
Is hij echt open?
The parents of Jasmine decided that they would drink less and take care of the children. 2 years later, I went back again to see how they've been doing. And this is Jasmine. She just turned 16 when I saw her. And I took this photo with a lot of emotions because this photo has been taken after she told me she was 5 months pregnant and she quit school. The father was a 24-year-old, the only young man living on the farm with whom she grew up with, who already had 2 children. And we went for ice cream, and I will never forget the adult sentence this girl said. Emma, my life is bitter as grape. Now, what is my role as a storyteller? I would like to tell or to show untold stories, unheard voices. My role is to register, to make people aware, not to solve it. However, I would like to contribute to change. I can only do that by working together. By visualizing wicked problems, in this case, activists, social workers, teachers, scientists can use that material to start debates, to look for solutions. Visuals can have a strong impact. So my message is to sometimes step out of your own box, engage with people from a totally different background. One can make a difference, together we can make change. Wasn't that the slogan of this Future Forward Summit? Now, where do you come from? It's a question people ask me all the time. Ask yourself this question from time to time too, when you're doing research. With what background do you look at things? How does that determine your frame? Never forget where you come from, and stay curious for the world around you.
Jasmine, go kijk hoe dans Emma. Jasmine, go kijk hoe dans Emma.